that brings me to what happened to me today. I am not going to try to sugarcoat this. I'm going to be straightforward. This is something that they will call graphic. YouTube or something, or whoever they might, censor it. I'm going to be very open. This is not something you say, oh, children are not supposed to hear this. No, we cannot have that kind of attitude. So, before the Sabbath, what I'm talking about here is clean and unclean. How I became unclean today. And it messed up my plans, messed up my schedule. After we met earlier, I ate and I fell asleep. I fell asleep, which was normal. I slept, and then I woke up. I woke up at the right time. I woke up at almost basically the time I told you. I woke up at the right time. I was supposed to call so we can meet. But then I thought to myself, you know what? Okay, let me get into the part that might seem uncomfortable. It's not uncomfortable, but it's embarrassing for me. What I'm about to tell you right now is going to be bad. It's embarrassing for me. It's not going to be embarrassing for you. So I thought to myself, you know what? My brothers, listen. Men, listen. Sisters, listen too. Because this information will be useful for your sons and your grandsons. This is what men have to go through. When we talk about clean and unclean, you think it's only for women. No, men have to deal with the clean and unclean issue. Men are unclean a lot of the time, but just that because they don't know. They don't realize it. So what happened to me was that when I woke up, today is the Sabbath. So I thought to myself, before I call and join you here, let me go and use the restroom. Because I have found out that sometimes when I use the restroom, I will find out that I'm unclean. And that was exactly what happened to me. So I thought to myself, it is better for me to yes, I might be late in this call, but let me use the restroom while the sun is still up. So that if I find out that I'm unclean, I will then shower before the sun goes down. Because if I join you on the call and then the sun goes down and then I find out later that I'm unclean, that means that I cannot join you tomorrow. I will not be able to join you because the sun has gone down when I found out that I'm unclean. So that means I'm going to be unclean all the way till tomorrow evening. So this is all based on this. This is what I've learned along the line. Let me better use the restroom so I don't have to worry about peeing this evening. I don't have to worry about using the restroom. Let me just, use the restroom and clean my system. If I happen to be unclean, so that was what happened. So to my surprise, when I went to use the restroom, I found out that sperm came out of my body. Okay, now this means that I am unclean. People don't preach this because they don't want to look embarrassed. Sperm came out of my body and it touched on my clothes. So now I cannot join you. I have to wash myself wash myself before I can join you. So that I don't have to be in a rush because the sun was going to go down. When I tried to wash myself, then I saw that the pants that I wore earlier on has a sperm on it too. So now I have to wash two clothes and wash myself. But it was very inconvenient. That was when I sent you that message that I apologize, I cannot join in right away. But I'm glad that I was able to see this, because then I had to wash those clothes and take a shower so that in that way I will know that I'm good. Now, what is it that triggers men having sperm come out of their body? The Most High talked about this in Leviticus chapter 15. Leviticus 15, our Heavenly Father talked about this. Leviticus 15. Can somebody, a brother, read Leviticus 15? Just start from verse 15. Verse 16 talked about this, but start from verse 15. Leviticus 15, what does it say? Leviticus chapter 15, verse 15 and 16. So men need to know this. You need to know this. It does happen. And I'm going to explain one of the things that triggers sperm coming out of your body when you don't even realize it. So obviously, this has been happening to me in the past. And I didn't know up until I began to take the law seriously. So sometimes I will leave, I will shower and leave and go about my business. Somebody might touch me or something will happen. Somebody might tell me that they are seeing their monthly period. That will mess up my plan for the day. There was a time a woman touched me on the shoulder to get my attention. She tapped me on my shoulder. I turned and she told me something. And then later on we began to talk. Then she told me that her husband died. And her husband died like 4 days ago or something. So obviously she was there when her husband died. Or I assume that she must have touched her husband's body. Because when your loved one is about to die, you're not going to stay away from them. You're trying to hold them and trying to. So that messed up my plan that day. I had to go and take shower before the sun goes down. Why? Because this woman touched me. And this is because of the law in Numbers chapter 19. The law in Numbers chapter 19. If somebody touches a grave or a dead body, they are unclean for 7 days. If they touch you, you become unclean. The Most High is testing us with these laws. And brother, I need a brother to read Leviticus chapter 15 for me. The Most High is testing us with these laws. Our Heavenly Father is testing us. Do you remember 1 Samuel chapter 20? In 1 Samuel chapter 20, what happened? King Saul, thought that David was unclean. And that was the reason why David did not come for the new moon. 1 Samuel chapter 20 tells you that when Saul looked at David's seat, Saul did not say anything. Saul kept quiet because he assumed that David was unclean. That right there in 1 Samuel chapter 20 shows you that when a Hebrew man is unclean, they do not participate in the things that are holy, like eating an animal that was sacrificed, like participating in the congregation. When you are unclean, you stay away. Now we have thought that this is only for women. Only a woman have to stay away when she's on her monthly period. No, men have to too. And I have told you that men are actually a lot more unclean, more than women. A woman is only unclean during her monthly period, 99% of the time. Unless if she has sex, as we will see in Leviticus chapter 15. If she has sex with her husband, then both of them are unclean. But most of the time, women are only unclean because of their monthly period. Men, as I have found out, men are a lot more unclean, sometimes even more than women. And I will tell you why. And every man needs to take note. This is something that we must take seriously as men. Okay, does anybody have that Leviticus chapter 15?
Yeah, I read it.
Okay, go ahead, Brother Heaven. Start from verse 15.
From verse 16.
Actually, start from verse 1. Let's see what the Most High is saying. Start from verse 1.
And the Lord spoke unto Moses and Aaron, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and say unto them, When any man hath a running issue out of his flesh, because of his issue he is unclean.
Okay, start from verse 1. Let's see what the law is about from verse 1. What is this law about? What is the Most High talking about? That's what I want to see.
Leviticus 15 from verse 1, it says, And the Most High spoke unto Moses and Aaron, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When any man has a running issue out of his flesh, because of his issue he is unclean. And this shall be his uncleanness in his issue, whether his flesh run with his issue, or his flesh be stopped from his issue. It is his uncleanness. Every bed whereon he layeth that hath the issue is unclean, and everything whereon he sitteth shall be unclean. And whoever toucheth his bed shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until even. And he that sitteth on anything wherein he sat, that hath an issue, shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until even. And he that toucheth the flesh of him that hath the issue shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until even. And if he that hath the issue spit on him that is clean, he that shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until even. And what saddle soever he rideth upon that hath the issue shall be unclean. And whoever toucheth anything that it was under him shall be unclean until even. And he that beareth any of those things shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until even. And whomsoever he toucheth that hath the issue, and hath not rinsed his hands in water, he shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until even. And the vessel of earth that he touches which hath the issue shall be broken, and every vessel of wood shall be rinsed in water. And when he that hath an issue is cleansed of his issue, then he shall number to himself 7 days for his cleansing, and wash his clothes, and bathe his flesh in running water, and shall be clean. And on the 8th day he shall take to him 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, and come before the Most High into the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and give them unto the priest. And the priest shall offer them, the one for a sin offering, and the other for a burnt offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for him before the Most High for his issue.
Okay, hold on. Okay, if you remember earlier on today, there was a question that a brother asked about making animal sacrifice during the Day of Atonement. I showed you from Leviticus chapter 12 and other places that we are not the one that do the animal sacrifice. I told you that Christians don't understand animal sacrifice, and Hebrew Israelites don't understand animal sacrifice. You are not the one that do the animal sacrifice. You take that animal to the priest. So you look at Leviticus chapter 15, the Most High said the same thing about women. When a woman has a child, the woman will take the animal and her husband will arrange it. Her husband is the one that will arrange it, get the animal, and it will be given to the priest. The priest does the sacrifice. We don't do the sacrifice. So people will ignorantly accuse you. Oh, you say you're keeping the law. Do you do animal sacrifice? Because they don't want to keep the law, so they're trying to ask you, oh, do you do animal sacrifice? No, we're not the one that do the animal sacrifice. As you can see here in Leviticus chapter 15. It says that the man is the one that will take the thing and give to the priest. The priest will do it for you. You don't do. You just get the animal and give to the priest. Okay, so Leviticus chapter 15, from verse 1 to 15, is actually talking about when a man is constantly sperm or blood is constantly coming out from them. There's something that goes on. This doesn't happen to everybody. This rarely happens, but there are men that actually have blood come out of their penis, and it's a continuous issue. If you look online, you will see there are people that do suffer from things like this. So when a man has a situation like the woman with the issue of blood, if a man has a medical issue where blood is constantly coming out of his penis, this is what this law is talking about. if a man is suffering from this, this is for him. Leviticus 15 from verse 1 to 15. If a man is also suffering from having sperm come out constantly from their body, it's the same thing. So the man might find himself under this same law. Leviticus 15 from verse 1 to 15. So this doesn't happen often. You probably will not be able to meet anybody that have suffered from something like this. It rarely happens. The ones that apply to us that we have to worry about is from verse 16. So verse 16 and verse 17, what does that say, my brother?
And if any man's seed of co-pollution go out from him, then he shall wash all his flesh in water, and be unclean until even. And every garment and every skin whereon the seed of pollution shall be washed with water, and be unclean until even.
Okay. All right, so that's the one that is talking about sperm and men. That's the one that applies to us a lot. Now, today, the reason why this happens, let me not just say this and it will just be my opinion. I don't want this to be my opinion, but let me remind you. What happened to David when David saw the woman taking shower? David saw her and David started thinking about sex. When David saw that woman taking shower, David was not thinking about praying for her. David was not thinking about giving her some money or whatever, or David wasn't thinking about that. David saw her taking shower and David was thinking sex. Now, that was King David. A man that you could call a righteous man saw a woman naked and was thinking, had that kind of thought. Just by seeing her nakedness, the rest of the story was a disaster. He sent for her, had sex with her, she became pregnant. He tried to cover up the pregnancy, it didn't work, it failed. All his attempt to cover up the pregnancy failed before he now went to plan B. David never meant to kill that man. It wasn't his intention to kill that man. When she became pregnant, what David wanted to do was that was why he tried to bring her husband back and then tried to get for Uriah to go home. Go home to your husband. Uriah did not want to go home. So King David was hoping that if Uriah will go home to his house, he will most likely have sex with his wife. So in that way, when that pregnancy comes out, it will look like it was Uriah. But because Uriah has been away for a while, it looks really suspicious that she became pregnant when he was away. So when David tried to get him to go home, Uriah did not want to go home. David now went to the disastrous plan B. Ended up killing the man, and then the whole thing was a disaster. Now, let me bring something up for you to think about. How come the Most High did not intervene when David was looking at that woman? How come the Most High did not intervene? We see in Genesis chapter 20, the man that was eyeing and looking at Sarah, Abraham's wife, the Most High sent a message to him on a dream. If you touch that woman, you are a dead man. Genesis chapter 20. So, but then you see David. You see David, that David the Most High did not say anything to him. When he got her pregnant, the Most High did not say anything. When he was trying to cover up the pregnancy, the Most High did not say anything until he killed the Uriah. The point I'm trying to make is that the Most High he expects us to do better. He expects us to not commit sin. So we could do all these things that he wouldn't say anything. And when he will react, it will be a time for punishment. This is one of the things that scares me. It scares me a lot. Because when the Most High will react, that reaction will be like he did David. Choose from 3 punishment. Choose from 3. Like he says in Jeremiah chapter 30 verse 11. Jeremiah 30:11, I will never let you go unpunished. That thing scares me. And the Most High punishes us right away. He punishes us right away. He doesn't punish the Gentiles. The Gentiles will live their life and live in abomination. They will grow old and die at the age of 90 years old. And you're looking at the whole situation and you're wondering, how is this possible? Because they are not people of the Most High. They are not people of the Most High. The Most High doesn't care about them. They are doomed already. So, but for us, like the reason why he didn't allow Moses or Moshe to get into the promised land, he had to punish Moshe, punish Aaron, punish David. So, but David saw this woman and David lost after her. Before David was the first son of Jacob in Jubilees chapter 33. Jubilees 33, we saw what happened. What's his name? Reuben. Reuben saw his father's wife taking shower. That was thousands of years before David. Reuben saw his father's wife taking shower. Jubilees chapter 33. When you get a chance, read the whole chapter. Jubilees 33. He saw his father's wife taking shower in the daytime. Now, this woman wasn't taking shower in public. Uriah's wife wasn't taking shower in public. They were in private, taking shower in private. These men, for whatever one reason or the other, they saw them. In David's case, David was upstairs when he saw her. So, but Reuben saw his father's wife taking shower. That evening, he sneaked in and got on top of her. There was no light in the room. So she was thinking that it was Jacob, her husband. By the time she realized that it wasn't Jacob, it was too late. And then he got down from on top of her and ran away. Jubilees chapter 33. The reason why I'm reminding you of these scriptures is to bring our attention to what happens to a man when we see a half-naked woman. All we're thinking is sex. That's all we're thinking. If this could happen to David, who am I? Who are you? So, this is one of the reasons why I speak against women wearing tight clothes. Even young girls. Did you know that in our community, among our people today, especially in America, there's an epidemic. We have an epidemic of fathers having sex with their daughters. We have an epidemic of men having sex with young girls that are daughters of the woman that they are quote unquote dating. So a woman will be by herself. She has 2 or 3 children. And then she meets this man. This happens in America. She meets this man. They start talking. They start, quote unquote dating. I hate dating. That's an idea that came from the Europeans. Dating and boyfriend and girlfriend, we shouldn't be engaging in things like this. So a man and a woman will begin to date. The woman has 2 or 3 girls, young girls. These girls are walking around the house with tight this and tight that. You are quote unquote in a relationship with this man, but he's lusting after your little girls, your girls. So oftentimes the woman will leave and go to work or something. The man is in the house with these children. And oftentimes he will be having sex with them. These are girls that may be 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, 11 years old. He will be having sex with them. You are thinking that he is there for you. No, he's not there for you. He's there for these girls. So, 5 years later, 10 years later, the girl will now start telling you her story. that she lost her virginity through her dad or her dad's brother or her mom's boyfriend. And this usually happens. I've gotten calls. Got a call from a girl who was 21 years old. Same thing. She lost her virginity, when she was like whatever age she was. So these are the kind of things that happened. And it gets triggered by the way that these girls are dressing. You, being the mother or the father, you see your girl wearing jeans. They should never be wearing jeans. 99.9% of the time, these jeans are very tight. They are tight. You hardly see a woman that's wearing a jeans that is like loose. 99.9% of the time, these jeans are tight. When we, men, I don't see men that preach about this. So I'm going to say these things, and it will be embarrassing for me, but I will say it. When me and real men who are not homosexual, men who are not gay, when we see a woman with tight clothes, we're thinking about sex. Now, here's where we get into the scripture and sperm. A man is not supposed to see a woman with clothes like that. Because, like as I've explained in the past, my mentality, my brain does not know who is my wife and who is not my wife. My brain cannot distinguish that. All my brain sees is a woman who is half naked. That's all my brain sees. So something that I am supposed to see inside of my house, I'm supposed to be inside of my house and see a half naked woman. And usually she's supposed to be my wife. So if I see her half naked, it turns me on. So as soon as that turns me on, what happens at that point? The same thing that happens is what happens when you see a delicious food. When you see a food that looks good or smells good, what happens at that point? You start, craving that food. If the next time you are very hungry and you're about to eat, pay attention. Your body knows that you're about to eat, and automatically your brain will produce saliva. You start, salivating. Your brain will produce saliva in your mouth. You have certain kind of feeling when you're about to eat, because your body is preparing, your body is producing that saliva that will help you to chew the food, getting your body ready as you're about to put the very first spoon into your mouth. This is what happens when we're about to eat. Same thing happens to men. So when we see a half-naked woman, a woman with tight clothes, my body doesn't care whether this is my wife or not. My body cannot distinguish. So what happens is that there are certain area of my brain that gets triggered. There's nothing wrong with that, my brain triggering. Because what my eyes is seeing is what I'm supposed to see in my bedroom, inside the house. So when I see that thing, there's a certain part of my brain that gets triggered, which will now notify the other parts of my body to start getting the sperm ready. Start getting ready. My body is thinking that there's going to be some action. That's what my body is thinking. What my body doesn't realize is that I'm standing in a grocery store. I wasn't actually in my house. And the woman that is half naked that I'm seeing on the grocery store, that woman who is half naked, she's actually not my wife. My body doesn't know this. This is where that sperm end up coming out, and you don't even, this is how you will get to that point. So, for example, let me tell you what happened yesterday. Usually, at the end of the month, I like to eat goat meat. During the new moon day, I like to eat goat meat. My brother here, Linwood, he knows that. So, I like to eat goat meat. So, I was trying to get the goat meat that I'm going to eat. And there was a sister. This happened. I do get it. I did. I have some. I have some, but I have to finish it because we can't warm it up tomorrow. Because, I can't warm it up tomorrow, so I probably, have to finish it today. So what happened yesterday was that I was at the store trying to get the goat meat, and I was at the fridge. So these Hebrews who were, getting the goat meat, it was freshly killed goat. They were trying to arrange the goat meat and put it in a bag, and there was a sister that came by the fridge. It was an older sister. This happened yesterday. Now, I'm not going to blame any woman. I'm not going to blame that sister that she made me unclean. No. I take full responsibility. Sometimes I see a woman, I try to look away because I see not every woman, but a woman that dressed like a harlot. I try to because I don't want to get turned on and then become unclean and mess up my day, mess up my schedule. But it's hard. It's really difficult because they're like everywhere. They're all half naked everywhere on the street. So anyways, this sister came to the fridge looking for some meat. She was an older sister, but she did not give a damn what she was wearing on top. What she was wearing, her breast, she didn't care. She did not care. And I looked at this. I'm like, that was what she was wearing and the way she dressed. She was an older woman, probably in her 60s. What she was wearing was the way she dressed and the way she looked, it was extremely sexually provoking. So that was yesterday at the store. What happens is that when we see things like that, our body gets triggered. Our body begins to prepare and arrange that sperm. So your body is not always ready to release a sperm all the time. No. Your body is not always ready to do that. That is the reason why you go to the restroom and you pee. Nothing comes out. No sperm comes out. Your body only gets triggered, begins to prepare that sperm to come out when you see a sexually provoking, when you see a woman who is half naked. Your body cannot distinguish who is who. Your brain cannot distinguish, actually, let's not do that sperm thing right now because that was not his wife. Your body doesn't think like that. As soon as your body sees it, it's like when you see a food and you're really hungry, your body cannot tell whether you actually have permission to eat that food. It happens when we see unclean food. When we see a delicious pork or shrimp, we still crave it. The reason why we don't eat it is because it's against the law. But just because that pork or that shrimp is against the law doesn't mean that you're not going to feel that smell, that delicious smell. You can still feel it. You can still crave it. The reason why we don't eat it is because it's against the law. So your body is not going to shut down and say, I'm going to make this food to smell bad because it's against the law. No. You are still going to crave that food, but you don't eat it because it's against the law. It's the same thing that happens. So when we see a woman who is half naked, tight clothes, tight this, we still go on to crave and to desire that woman. The reason why we don't go for it is because that woman is not our wives. This is what happens. This is what happens most of the time. Now, for us, for the men who are keeping the law, we are able to control ourselves because we know that we're not supposed to do this. We cannot do this. So we're able to control ourselves. So, but for men who are not keeping the law, when they see a woman like that, the very first thing that they do is to try to start a conversation with you. Start a conversation and then ask for your number. And everything that they will be doing, they will be giving you the impression that they care about you, they love you. All this, they are lying. I know because I used to do that. We don't give a damn. We actually don't like you. In our mind, when we talk to our friends, we will describe you as a whore. A woman that dress sexually provoking, when we talk amongst other men with our friends, we describe you as a whore. We know that we want to have sex with you, but when we're talking about something serious like marriage, we don't want to have anything to do with you when it comes to marriage. But we'll have sex with you. This is something that young girls need to understand. And it really pains my heart that young girls don't understand this until it's too late. Until it's too late, that's when they now understand it. But at that point, it's too late. Most of the time, when we tell a woman that we love that woman, we don't. We're saying it because we just want to give you the impression that we want to we want to get you to let your guards down, for you to let your guard down and start that so-called relationship with us. And then what happens is, once you assume that we care about you and we love you, what do? You now allow us to have access to your body. Once we finish getting what we want from your body, we'll leave you. This is what happens a lot. So, for example, this picture is, I think it was from Facebook. This picture was from Facebook, so I'm going to post this picture. And I will see if I can find the comments under this picture. I will look for the comment under this picture. It was on Facebook, and boys was all over her page. Let me see if I can show you what these boys are saying.
Why it's also because probably in 90% of the homes there is no father to rule and walk in Torah.
To teach the young girls, to teach them,
Correct.
to tell the young girls, look, we're a bunch of liars. When we tell you we love you, we're just saying it just, we can get access to your body. Girls are not being told these things. You're right. Okay, so I posted that picture, and then I'm also showing you the comment. Look at the comment under this picture. Look at the comment. You look so amazing. You look so amazing, baby. The first comment says, you look so amazing, baby. The second comment says, I like what I'm seeing. And then it says, DR, can we chat? The third comment says, wonderful. Some of these men have sperm coming out of their body just by looking at this picture. And they are unclean without even realizing it. It says, the other comment, this comment says, you are beautiful, my dear. Because she's showing you her nipples and she's half naked. That's why she's beautiful, right? Okay. This one says, Chineya, you are beautiful, dear. This one says nice. This one says nice. Beautiful lad. This one says, hi baby, I'm living in Ojodu. I like to see one on one. Where was comment from women? Where are other women saying, oh sister, you're so beautiful? It's mostly men. They want to chat with her. They want to meet with her. Now, these brothers, these men that are writing this comment, among themselves, They know that she's a whore. They see her as a whore, but they have no problem getting on top of her. Now, this girl you see in this picture here, this girl you see in this picture, this girl in this picture is getting all this attention. The older she gets, the less attention she gets. The older she gets, the less attention. By the time she's in her 40s, she'll be getting less attention. And then at that point, she will double down. She will be dressing even worse than the way she's dressing now. So now she's getting so much attention. She doesn't realize that these are fake attention. So this girl you see in this picture, I guarantee you, by the time she's 50, she will be by herself. Because the man that will truly love her will never say a word to her looking at the way she's dressing right now. A man that truly, truly loves her will never. A man that truly cares about her will never. A righteous man will never have anything to do with this girl. A righteous man thinks that she's a public toilet. This is also the reason why you should never allow your daughter on Facebook or Instagram. Never do it. Don't do it. You have no idea how much contact and messages these girls are getting. These girls are bombarded. They are bombarded with messages from Facebook. 99% of the time they ignore it. But at some point, they will see one that they like, one that convinces them. We should not allow young girls to be on Facebook. Never allow them to be on there. Hebrew girls have no business being on Facebook. Don't allow them. Even boys, they have no business being on Facebook. Absolutely not. Because, and what let me show you that from the scripture actually. Let's go to Sirach chapter 42. Let's see. Let me show you from the scripture why you should never allow your daughter on Facebook. If you can go to Sirach chapter 42 and read from verse 9. Somebody, a brother, please do me a favor. Read from verse 9 to 12. Sirach 42 in the Apocrypha. If you don't have it, Google it. It's available on Google. Sirach 42. Sirach 42 from verse 9. And if you're going to do this, you have to do this as soon as possible. You don't want her to become 13 years old or 14 years old, and then she's already on Facebook, and then you tell her to get out. No. Don't let them get on Facebook in the first place. Do not let them get in the first place. Sirach chapter 42. Do I have a brother that has it? Sirach 42. Who is trying to read? Your mic is very low. We can barely hear you. Yeah, your mic it's very low. Okay, let me see if I can read it. Sirach 42. Actually, I can't read it. I don't want to touch that Bible. Or maybe let me try and do it from the tablet, because I don't know. Yeah, okay, I think I can, because It's already dark right now, so I can. The sun have already gone down.
I read it. What is it?
Sirach 42 from verse 9 to 12.
The father of the daughter, when no man knoweth, and the care for her taken away sleep. When she is young, she's passed away, the flower of her age, and being married, let she should be hated. In her virginity, let she should be defiled, and gotten with child in her father's house, and having an husband, let she should misbehave herself. And when she is married, let she be a barren. Keep a sure watch over a shameless daughter, lest she make thee a laughing stock to thy enemies, and a byword in the city, and a reproach among the people, and make thee ashamed before the multitude. Behold, not everybody's beauty, and sit down in the midst of a woman.
Okay, so this is the book of Sirach. I highly recommend. The book of Sirach is like a manual for law keepers. The book of Sirach will teach you a lot, even how to eat in public, even how to chew your food in public. That book is so wonderful. The book of Sirach. You have to read the book of Sirach. You're going to learn so much. You're going to learn how to deal with people, how to make friends, how to deal with, like, it teaches you everything. So I highly recommend the book of Sirach. So in the book of Sirach chapter 42, there was a verse there that I wanted you to see. So from verse 9 talked about, from verse 9 says, a daughter is a secret anxiety. I'm reading from this translation here. This is the New Reverse Standard Version. So it says, Sirach 42 from verse 9, a daughter is a secret anxiety to her father. So a father is always worried about her daughter. A father is always worried about her daughter. A father, there was a picture that I sent you, Brother Linwood. There was a picture I sent you. I don't know if you still have it on your Skype. If you could forward it to us. It was a picture I sent you some time ago where that man with her son and her daughter, you see the way her daughter was covered. So Sirach 42 from verse 9. It says that a daughter is a secret anxiety to the father. So a man is always worrying that his daughter might lose her virginity, and then now she's in trouble because no man will want to marry her, or that she might become pregnant, and then now there's a problem because no man will want to marry her. So a father is always worried about these things. And that makes the point that Brother Linwood was pointing out earlier. That part of, the problem is that you don't have much men in the house, because there are certain things that a man is supposed to teach a girl. A girl is supposed to learn about men from her father. And whatever that man tells her daughter has a strong weight. It's very credible, because this is coming from a man. So if I have a daughter and I say to my daughter, listen, don't trust men until he marries you. Never trust a man. Thank you, brother. So check out that picture. So if a father tells a daughter, never trust a man just because he says that he loves you, until he marries you and pay your bride price, never trust him. If a man says this to his daughter, that daughter will never forget that. That girl will never forget that statement. But like the brother says, we have a problem today that most of our people are growing up without a man in the house. So she's not really taught these things. And it's been a disaster. And these girls don't know how to deal with men, because they did not see mom and dad, doing these things. Okay, so that's pretty much what Sirach 42 is saying. That father is always worried about his daughter. A daughter is a secret anxiety to her father, and worry over her robs him of sleep. when she is young, for fear she may not marry. If married, for fear she may be disliked. Verse 10, Sirach 42 verse 10. While a virgin, for fear she may be seduced. So when she's a virgin, this man is worried that this girl might be seduced. Keep that in mind when you think of Facebook. Sirach 42 verse 10. While she's this is not even the verse I want to show you, but this also applies. Sirach 42 verse 10. While a virgin, for fear she may be seduced and become pregnant in her father's house, or having a husband, for fear she may go astray. And though married, for fear she may be barren and not be able to have children. Verse 11, Sirach 42 verse 11. Keep a strict watch over a headstrong daughter, or she may make you a laughing stock to your enemies. So can you imagine being righteous, keeping the law? Can you just imagine yourself right now, exactly who you are right now? Think of your family members, what they think of you. I don't know what you're going through with your relatives, but I know what I'm going through. Think of what you are dealing with your relatives. Think of how they see you. They think you're crazy. They think you're a lunatic. They think you're part of a cult. They think you're reading the wrong Bible. So can you imagine your daughter getting pregnant while all these things you're doing right now? These family members will laugh at you. When they gather together, they're having, they're talking about you. They're saying, wow, he claims to keep the law. And he couldn't even control his daughter. He couldn't even teach his daughter to keep her legs closed. He claims to keep the law, and he could not even teach his daughter to keep her leg. This is what they'll be saying. That's what this scripture is saying. That you watch your daughter, or else your daughter will make you a laughing stock. Sirach 42 verse 11. Keep strict watch over a headstrong daughter, or she may make you a laughing stock to your enemies, a byword in the city and the assembly of the people, and put you to shame in public gathering. So watch her. Then it continues in verse 11. See that there is no letters in her room, no spot that overlooks the approach to the house. So the end of verse 11 says that make sure that her window is not facing the front of the house. Do not allow the room, your daughter's room, to be the one that faces the front of the house, where she can be in the room and she's looking outside. No, don't let her room be in that area. That room can belong to your son. Do not allow your daughter to have a room that overlooks towards the front of the house. What does that mean? Well, those of you, that grew up in the village, or you could, if you come into most of the houses, the bedroom has a window that looks towards the front of the house. What this is trying, the reason why it says to make sure that there's no spot in her room that looks towards the front of the house. The reason why is because all these boys going by on the street, you don't want her to stay in her room and be staring at these boys. Because eventually she's going to see one that she likes. There's nothing wrong with her seeing a boy that she likes. Nothing is wrong with that. As long as she comes and talks to you, she needs to come and talk to you. You are the one that will approve who will be her husband. That's our culture. We do arrange marriage, as you see in Judges chapter 14 from verse 1. Samson saw a girl that he wants to marry. Samson went home. Judges chapter 14. Samson went home and told his father and his mother, I saw this girl. Can you please marry her for me? So we do arrange marriage. Also Genesis 24. Isaac was 40 years old. You think that he couldn't find a girl? The Bible tells you in Genesis 24 that Isaac was 40 years old. And yet, his father Abraham found him a wife. Genesis 24. His father found him a wife, even though he's 40 years old. That is what we do, arranged marriage. These are things that we have rejected because we are looking at the Europeans. So also, it's very important to point out that Rebecca was 10 years old. The book of Joshua, chapter 24, verse 39 and 40. Joshua 24, 39 and 40. So he's 40, she's 10. And there was still arranged marriage. So there's nothing wrong with a girl seeing a boy that she likes, as long as she comes and tells you. She should tell her mother, and they will have a conversation. If her mother thinks that, okay, this is a good idea, then her mother will tell her father. And then they can proceed from there, because her mother and her father are supposed to find her a husband. So we have to train our children the way our ancestors was trained. If your child sees a boy, or if your child, it's time for her to have a husband, whatever happens, they have to talk to you first. If you think it's a good idea, then you pass it on to your husband. Your husband will now look into it and then make the final decision whether or not that man will be her husband. That is why you see in Deuteronomy chapter 22. Deuteronomy 22, it says that, Deuteronomy 22 from verse 13 to 21, that man says to the elders, I gave my daughter to this man. I gave my daughter, because your father is supposed to give you to a man. Your father was supposed to give you to a man. So, but the reason why I brought you to Sirach chapter 32 is because it says that do not let her room have a spot that faces the front house. That's like being on Facebook. You don't want her to be in a place where she will have endless access to men parading themselves, crossing the street. All these men crossing the street. Her room is right there and she's looking out the window, and all these men, the young boys are crossing the street. You don't want to have that. Let her room be in the back. That it's even worse being on Facebook, because this is not just men crossing the street. This is men sending her message in her private inbox. As I showed you in that. Oh, baby, you're beautiful. Oh, baby, I live 2 miles away. I would like to meet you. Oh, baby, you're this. Oh, baby, you're beautiful. Baby, you're wonderful. I like what I see. You're beautiful. I like what I see. You look good. These girls are bombarded with this. I saw a story the other day of girls that was raped, their picture taken and posted online, and they met these boys on Facebook. They began to talk. They were invited. They were drugged, raped. The picture was taken. So as Hebrews, we should not allow our young people on Facebook or Instagram. These social media, absolutely not. Don't do it, my brothers and sisters. Do not do it. Don't let them be on Facebook. Don't even allow it in the first place. Once they get on there and start doing this, it will be more difficult to try to get them off of Facebook. Don't even allow them in the first place. Never allow your children on social media. Never ever allow them. They will try to convince you. Don't allow them. If you do, you will eventually regret it. It's something that you will regret. Don't even allow your wife there. The men. What is she doing on Facebook? Don't even allow your wife. Okay, let me tell you something. This is like a secret. This is a secret. Something that happened some years ago. There was something that I was promoting. I was promoting this thing online, doing a commercial. So I created a fake Facebook. I created a fake Facebook. I went to somebody else's Facebook. I took her pictures. I took multiple pictures. And then I created a fake Facebook. So what I do is once in a while, I will post her picture in that Facebook. Men were contacting that Facebook, not realizing that I am the one behind the Facebook. That Facebook looks real. It looks real because it has multiple pictures, not like Facebook with one picture. It has multiple pictures. Do you know what happened? At some point, somebody who I knew, a man that was the husband of one of my relatives, contacted that Facebook. Because the woman, I put a woman's picture on the Facebook. So he contacted the Facebook, which I was behind, and was asking like, oh, who are you? Blah, blah, blah. Like, I know what he was doing. So I was responding as if I was the woman. Now, this was a couple of years ago. I would not do something like that now because this requires you to lie. So he was contacting the Facebook, and I know that his so-called wife didn't know about this. And he himself, if he finds out that I was the one behind that Facebook, he will be very, very, very embarrassed. Now, that's why I say that don't even allow your wife on Facebook. What is she doing there for? I guarantee you this. Men are going to be contacting her. Men will be contacting her, and she is going to reject 99.9% of them. What about the 1%? At some point, she's going to see one person that she likes. At some point. When I began to speak to you today, I say that the things I'm going to tell you is embarrassing. I didn't even think about what I'm about to say now. I've also met somebody on Facebook. I've met a woman on Facebook, and let me be honest with you, I'm already embarrassing myself, so let me go ahead and continue. I saw, this was some years ago, of course. This was before I began to take the law seriously. Because I've always known about Yah's law. We all know that the Most High gave us the law. We all know this. All of us knew that we have a law. It's just that we were told that we don't have to keep it. We were told that we don't have to keep those laws. So we've all known about the law. So before I began to take the law seriously, as I do now, I saw this woman on Facebook. This is a true story. I saw her on Facebook, and she was wearing, I began to go through her profiles. She was wearing, this tight jeans and this, and she wears traditional clothing, and she wears this, and she wears that. So I contacted her on Facebook. Did you know that in less than 1 week from the time I contacted her, she and I were sitting together in my car? Never met her before, don't know who she is. From less than 1 week from the time I contacted her, we were literally sitting down in my car in front of her house. Because when I contacted her on Facebook, I pretended as if, I'm doing this, I'm promoting this, blah, 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 blah. So when I speak to you, my brothers and sisters, I'm speaking from experience. So I was like, of course I'm not going to tell her the real reason why I was contacting her. I was like, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that, blah, 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 blah. So we exchanged phone number. Then we started talking. Then we met. Now, after sometimes she continued to call. I stopped answering her phone call because at that point, I have no use for her anymore. But she continued to call. Because all the stuff I was telling her, I was lying to her. I was lying to her and she didn't even realize it. When I was done, I tossed her out. She kept calling and calling and calling, and with all the stress, the crying, the broken heart, I tossed her out. So I treated my sister like a dog because she's a Hebrew woman. I treated her like a whore. We're not supposed to do that. Men are not supposed to do that. We are not supposed to treat our sister like a bunch of whores. But I have to be honest with you. The thing that grabbed my attention was the way she was dressed. That got my attention. She was wearing these tight jeans. That got my attention. And I sent her a message on Facebook. We started talking. I remember one night, the night I was talking about, we were sitting in my car in front of her house around 12 at night or something like that. Her daughter drove in and her daughter got out of her car and she told me, oh, that's my daughter. So she was coming back from the club. She was coming back from the club. So, as I showed you, I like to show you evidence. I like to show you scriptures. I don't like to sit and just give you my opinion. I give you evidence, show you the scripture, the evidence. You see the way that those boys were responding on Facebook. I'm telling you why you should not allow your wife on Facebook or social media. WhatsApp is okay because WhatsApp is private. Skype is okay. Skype is private. WhatsApp is private. Facebook, no. Instagram, no. Don't do it. You will regret it. You will regret it. You should not allow your daughter or your wife on Facebook. You shouldn't even allow your son on Facebook. Don't do it. What is he doing there for? For us, the Hebrews, to be on Facebook, we have to use Facebook. What do I mean by using Facebook? Use it to share videos about the Sabbath, share videos about the law. If possible, don't even put your picture. Don't allow your daughter on Facebook or social media, Instagram, Facebook, all these social media. Don't allow them there. Don't allow your wife either. Because it's just a matter of time before a man will see her and that man will lust after her and begin to contact her. Next thing you know, they're having sex. That what I showed you from Facebook, do you see any of those men asking her, oh, do you have a husband? No. They saw the way she dressed and they're saying, oh, baby, you're beautiful. Baby, you're wonderful. Baby, I live in Ojodu. None of them is saying, hey, do you have a husband? They're saying, well, I would like to see you. They don't care whether she has a husband or not. I would like to see you. When I saw that woman on Facebook, the one I told you, I didn't care whether she has a husband or not. I saw her, she was advertising her body. She was wearing something that was tight. She was advertising. I saw her. I don't care whether she had a husband or not. When I say these things, I'm trying to protect women. I'm trying to protect you. Because if this woman that I was telling you about, if she knew ahead of time what my intentions were, she would never had answered me on that Facebook. She would never had given me her phone number. If she knew that in a short period of time, she's going to be calling me and I will not answer her, she would never had responded to me. So after I lied to her, I gave her all this impression. After all these things, she thought I was telling the truth. She thought I loved her, blah, 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 blah. And then eventually it was all over. Now her heart was broken. It would take her at least a couple of months to recover. So when I say these things, I'm trying to protect you, my sisters. I'm trying to protect you from heartbreaks. I'm trying to protect you from being in a situation where you will be, unless if you love misery, if you love pain and suffering, okay, go ahead. Okay, there was a picture that the brother posted, Brother Linwood posted. Look at that picture. I think it was Brother Nemeka posted the picture. I don't know how Brother Nemeka got access to the picture, but I think I sent it to Brother Linwood. But anyway, maybe I posted the picture in the past. That's probably how you got it. I posted it in the past. So these are like Pakistanis. They're like Pakistanis. Okay, so you can see the man in the middle. He has his fringes. See the fringes on that cloth? There's the fringes that on his thing. You see the way that those men dress? That's the way that we should dress. We should wear something that is like a robe. We should dress like the Hebrews. These men here basically dress, they pretty much almost dress like the Hebrews. You see what they're wearing? How it's moderate, all, went down, across their knees. That's the father in the middle. That's the son on the right, on the right of the father. That's the son, and that is her daughter. Now that is his daughter. That's the daughter. I'm showing you this picture because I had remembered Sirach chapter 42 that tells you how a man is worried about his daughter, because this man wants to make sure that this girl remains a virgin. Look at this picture, my brothers and sisters. How the hell do you lust after this? How can you lust after this woman? You don't even know what she looks like. Now, I want to remind you of something. Let me remind you of something that you know about. Do you remember in Genesis chapter 28 and 29, when Jacob, after serving for 7 years, after Jacob served for 7 years, Laban gave Jacob his daughter. The scripture tells you that Jacob ended up having sex with the wrong girl. So how come Jacob, who has been living in the house for 7 years or more than 7 years in that house, how is it that he's not able to realize that he's about to have sex with the wrong girl? The woman, the girl that was given to him on that wedding day, after he paid the bride price for 7 years, after he did that, the girl that was given to him, he ended up laying with her and then realized that that was the wrong girl. So how come he wasn't able to tell? Do you think that there was no light? No, they have lamps. Our ancestors did not walk around at night and there's no light anywhere. They have to walk around like they're blind. They had lamps. Our ancestors had lamps. The Most High, we have lamps, and we have oil. Our ancestors came out of Egypt. Egyptian people were actually a lot more developed. Egypt was developed. That's why they have the pyramid. Egypt was well developed. So our people were not walking around in darkness at night. They had a lamp. They did not say, okay, Jacob, here's your wife. Now go and figure out where the bedroom is. No, there was lamp. So why is it that he wasn't able to see that this is the wrong girl? Because she was all covered up. She was all covered up. The picture that I posted earlier from Facebook, that girl has been getting attention and will continue to get attention. But all these attentions that she's getting is fake attention. They just want her for sex. I guarantee you, this girl will eventually become lonely by herself. Because no man, every man that is 100% of the men who are interested in her, they're interested in her because of her body. That's it. No righteous man will ever want to have anything to do with her. No righteous man at all. This is what girls need to understand. This is why I speak the way I speak. And that brings me back to the issue of clean and unclean. You saw the evidence from that picture. from Facebook. These men were saying, oh, baby, you're wonderful. Baby, you're beautiful. Baby, I live in a Jodu. Baby, I want to see you. Baby, because of the way she dressed. All they were thinking about as they saw that picture is sex, 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 sex. That's all they're thinking about. So oftentimes we, the men, I remember at least 3 people yesterday, 3 Hebrew women. One was much earlier in the morning. I think it was yesterday. I remember 2 women from the stores. You know, they dressed in a sexually provocative way. And it was like, it's so difficult if you're trying to be a righteous man. Very difficult. So the price that we have to pay is that we're going to be unclean a lot. We're going to be unclean. I try to make sure that I'm not unclean on the Sabbath. I never decided to become unclean today. So my brothers, men, watch yourself. Watch yourself. And the most important thing that I want you to know, if you are a man, is that whenever sperm comes out of your body, you are unclean. It doesn't matter the reason why it came out. It doesn't matter whether you had sex with your wife or whether you saw a half-naked woman. It doesn't matter. As long as sperm comes out of your body, you are unclean. And any cloth, anywhere, any cloth that sperm touches, it's also unclean. You have to wash that cloth and wash that sperm. Now, my advice for you is, when you are unclean, just go into the shower. Do not take off the cloth. You wear that cloth and go inside the shower where you take your bath. Go inside there, take the cloth off, or the knicker or the pant, the short knicker or whatever, or shorts, whatever you're wearing. Take it off. Wash it first. You don't have to wash it for 10 minutes. No. Just wash it, put it away, wash yourself real quick, wash yourself, and come out and put another clothes on. Do this before the sun goes down. So if you become unclean at night, make sure you wash yourself before the next sun goes down. If you become unclean in the morning, make sure you wash yourself before the sun goes down. If you become unclean right after the sun went down, make sure you wash yourself by the time that the sun goes down the next day. As soon as you do this, you're fine. As soon as you wash yourself, you are okay. Because being unclean is not a sin. When you become unclean, you're not committing any sin. There is no sin in it. Being unclean is not a sin. It becomes a sin if you do not wash yourself. I think our Heavenly Father spoke about that in Leviticus chapter 15. If you don't wash yourself, that's when it becomes a sin. Let's see Leviticus chapter 15 again. So it says, as the brother was reading, it says in verse 16, Leviticus chapter 15, 16, if a man has an emission of semen, he shall bathe his whole body in water and be unclean until evening. Verse 17, everything made of cloth or skin, meaning like a leather, like animal leather, everything made of cloth or skin on which the semen falls shall be washed with water and be unclean until evening. Verse 18, if a man lies with a woman and has emission of semen, both of them shall bathe in water and be unclean until evening. And then from verse 19, talks about women. Leviticus chapter 15 from verse 19 talks about women. So it says from verse 19, when a woman has a discharge of blood, that is her regular discharge from her body, she shall be in her impurity for 7 days. And whoever touches her shall be unclean until evening. Whoever touches her shall be unclean until evening. So if you touch a woman who is on her monthly period, You don't have to wash the clothes, but you have to take a shower. Take a shower before, if you touch her. So verse 20, everything upon which she lies, her impurity shall be, everything upon which she lies during her impurity shall be unclean. So her chair, her bed, everything upon which she sits shall be unclean. Verse 21, Leviticus 15:21. Whoever touches her bed shall wash his clothes and bathe in water and be unclean until evening. Verse 22, whoever touches anything upon which she sits shall wash his clothes and bathe in water and be unclean until the evening. Verse 23, whether it is the bed or anything upon which she sits, when he touches it, he shall be unclean until evening. Verse 24, if a man lies with her and her impurity falls on him, meaning the blood, his flour. I should have been reading this from King James. So that impurity is the blood, the flour. And her flour or her blood touches him, he shall be unclean 7 days, and every bed on which he lies shall be unclean. So if you have sex with your wife during her monthly period, you yourself becomes unclean for 7 days. You will be unclean for 7 days. So this is basically the reason, part of the reason why our ancestors had multiple wives. It has to do with sex. It also had to do with their welfare. What do I mean? So Moses or Moshe, for example, had multiple wives. And Moshe is basically like a priest. He was a prophet. He was a servant of the Most High. So if Moshe had one wife and she is unclean and they live in the same house, that means that Moses will basically not be able to do anything holy for that whole week. So what our ancestors did was to have multiple wives, build multiple houses. Typically, the wife will have her own quarter. The wife will have her own house. Example of this is Jubilees chapter 33. You will see example of this. Belial had her own little house. That was where Reuben went in to rape her own house. So typically a Hebrew man will build the main house where he lives in. And he will build a small house when he marries another wife. So the wife will have their own little houses. So when a woman is during her monthly period, she stays in her house. During her monthly period, she stays there. So now he is not affected. But within that whole week, that 1 week that she's unclean, the other wife is cooking for him. When he wants sex, the other wife is there because she is clean. The other wife is there when he wants sex. The other wife is cooking for him. Let me give you another biblical example. If you go back and read the book of Jubilees chapter 33, Jubilees 33, you will see that Jacob in that Jubilees 33 had traveled with one of his wives. Jacob traveled with one of his wives. When he came back from that travel, the scripture tells you that when he came back from the travel, he now called Belial because he wanted to have sex with her. Jubilees chapter 33, from like verse 7, verse 8, verse 9. So when Jacob came back from travel that he went to, he called his wife Belial to have sex with her. That was when Belial told her, "No, you cannot have me. I am unclean. I have been defiled. I was raped. I was raped. I was raped by Reuben. You can no longer have me. You can no longer have sex with me because I've been defiled. Jubilees chapter 33. So that's part of the reason why our ancestors had multiple wives. So when a woman is on her monthly period, especially if you are a righteous man, if you are a man that serves the Most High, if you are a servant of the Most High, you cannot take 7 days off. The Most High can direct somebody to you at any time. The Most High can send somebody to you at any time. So you can't take days off. You have to be always available. So it's only a regular man that can afford to become unclean for 7 days. Only a regular man. This is the reason why, let me give you a biblical example. This is the reason why in Leviticus 21, you see that the Most High doesn't allow the Levite to touch a dead body, because that will make them unclean for 7 days. Hell no. Absolutely not. The work of the Most High cannot be suspended for 7 days. No. So if you look at that law in Leviticus 21, you see that the Most High said that a Levite can only become unclean for his mother or his father or his brother or his daughter who is not yet married. Leviticus 21. So, but when a man has more than one wife and she is unclean during her monthly period, then she stays in her quarters. The other wife is there to cook for him. The other wife is there for sex. Because if he has any contact with her or touch her bed or whatever, everything is shut down for, because he's unclean. This is also what I meant when I said that we are poor. My brothers and sisters, we are poor today. We are poor today. That's why you have to make sure that your sons are not educated in this worldly education system. Because we as the Hebrews supposed to have multiple houses. It doesn't matter whether you have money or not. You can afford it if you want to have it. But these things are not taught in the worldly school system. Once we begin this school again, this coming Friday, these boys will begin to build house. They will start building their own house. We will get them started from that process. They will begin that process starting this coming Saturday. We will set their mind and fix their mind to begin to be a builder, to be a leader. Teach them how to be the leader, how to lead and not be a follower, how to be the head and not the tail. But one of the things that they're going to be learning is building, basically setting their mind and preparing them to build their own house. Now we have different boys. Some of them are we have those who are 9 years. We have different people, boys and girls. So in about 7 years from now, I guarantee you, these boys will have their own wives and their own houses. Guaranteed. So normally a man is supposed to have his own main house. Each time he marries a wife, he will build a small tiny house for her. Build a house for her so she has her space, have her privacy. When she's unclean, she's there. It's impractical. It's unnatural for a man to have one wife. You have to be like a nobody. You have to not care about the law. It's extremely difficult for a man to have one wife and be able to serve the Most High. You will not be able to serve the Most High efficiently. I gave you an example with a car. A car without tires, if you remove wheels, if you remove the tires from the wheels of a car, If you remove the wheels, or I'm sorry, you remove the tires from the wheels of a car, the car will still move. If a car has only wheels, that car will move. But that car will not move as fast and as efficient as it would have moved if the car has tires. If a car has tires with air, that car will move very smooth. So it's the same thing. A man who doesn't have a wife at all will not be able to serve the Most High efficiently. A man who is by himself, no wife, will not be able to serve the Most High efficiently. Because it takes time to wash your clothes. It takes time to cook. This is what the Most High saw in the Garden of Eden and decided, he needs somebody. He needs a maid. He needs a maid. This is why young girls are called maiden. A young virgin is called a maiden. That's where the word maid came from. Like having a maid in your house, cleaning your house. And that word maid came from maiden. A young Hebrew girl is called a maiden. The Most High in the Garden of Eden realized that Adam needed a maid. Because in the daytime, Adam goes to work for the Most High in the garden. So the Most High did not want a situation where Adam will come back in the evening and start scrambling and trying to find out something to eat, trying to wash or do this or do that. No. That's why he created Eve for him. That's why he says in 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 5 and 6, verse 8 and 9, 1 Corinthians 11, verse 8 and 9, that a man was not made for the woman, but the woman was made for the man. The woman was made for the man. The woman was made like a maiden, made for the man. Made for the man. So a man who doesn't have a wife will not be able to serve the Most High efficiently. Because the time you're supposed to be sleeping, to get ready for the next day, to go serve the Most High, you use that time to be walking around and looking for food and trying to cook. This is the reason why you have Proverb 31. The woman in Proverb 31, you see how busy she is? She's running the household while her husband is able to go out and join the other elders to serve the Most High. So this man is able to be out there and serving the Most High with the other elders while his household is being run. Food cooked, house cleaned, babies taken care of. He's able to focus on serving the Most High. So a man that doesn't have a wife will not be able to, he can still serve the Most High. Yeah, you can. That man can still serve the Most High, but not as efficiently as he would have if he has a wife. A man that has one wife will not be able to serve the Most High as efficiently as he would have when he has two wives. When a man has two wives, it's a lot more difficult, a lot much easier to serve the Most High. Because if a man has two wives and one of them becomes unclean, then she simply, go take care of herself. He's not going to worry about food, cooking. He's not going to worry about sex. Because as we saw in this Leviticus chapter 15 that we read, as we saw in Leviticus chapter 15, if he touches her bed, he's unclean. If he touches her, he's unclean. If he has sex with her, he's unclean for 7 days. So, as I also give you the example of Jubilees chapter 33, that's why usually our ancestor will have a house built for their wives. The woman stays in her quarters. And he and his affairs continue to run very smoothly because the other wife is there. And eventually the other wife will begin to see her monthly period. And she would take a time off and take care of herself and the other wife will come back out, back and continue to cook, continue to take care of him. So it's unnatural for a man that served the Most High to have one wife. It's not going to work. It will not work. You have to have two wives. Now, doesn't that sound strange? Have you ever had anybody explain this like this? Because these men are scared. These Hebrew men are scared to say this. And most of them don't even understand it. I'm talking about Hebrew men that teaches. These Hebrew camps that teach. Some of them it doesn't even occur to them. They don't even understand this. So contrary to what you've been taught, it's unnatural for a man to be with one woman. Now, before you become emotional, hold on. Keep your feelings aside. Let's deal with facts. You remember what I said earlier on? That I'm going to embarrass myself. I don't mind embarrassing myself for the sake of the scripture and for the sake of edifying you. So I've given you some personal information that looks kind of embarrassing. But I don't mind saying it. Let me tell you something else that I frankly don't see people saying this. My brothers and sisters, for us, for me, as a man, a fully blooded man, a man who is straight, not homosexual, for a man like me who is straight, if you bring a woman, if I see a woman right now, never seen her before, had no idea who she is, if I see her and she's half naked, I would have sex with her right away. I don't care who she is. I don't know her name. I don't care about her name. And I have done this in the past. I've done it in the past without even knowing who that person is. I don't care who she is. What I care is the body. But it's not so for women. You women, it's a little bit different. You want to get to know that man. You want to get to know them. You want to build up that emotional connection. You want to build up that emotional feeling. You want to take your time and get to know them before having sex with them. For us, the men, the opposite. For us, sex is not about emotion. I can have sex with a woman that I hate. A woman that I despise, a woman that I hate with deep-rooted hatred. Even though I hate her, I can still have sex with her. I can have sex with a total stranger, a woman that I have no idea who she is. I can still have sex with her. Because it's not about emotion for us. It's not about feeling. This now brings me to the next level. You see, for us, men are capable of loving multiple women. That's how the Most High built us. We can love multiple women. That's why I began to explain this from the beginning the way I did. We can have sex with a woman that we don't know. We are built and created and made and built. We're capable of loving multiple women. Loving them perfectly. The way the Most High wants us to. We're capable of doing that. And actually, we were built to do that. Once in a while, like I saw a post from a woman. There was the woman that made a post. And I found it fascinating that she actually made that post. The post that she made, she said that it's unnatural for a man to be with one woman. Now, if you notice, I try to avoid promoting polygamy. You will notice from my videos, I don't like to promote polygamy. Not because it's a sin. It's not a sin. But I try to avoid promoting it. There's a reason why I don't promote polygamy. There's a reason why I don't do it. And if there are people who are practicing polygamy, I want them to fail. Isn't that strange? Why would you want it to fail if it's not a sin? So you will notice that I deliberately don't talk about polygamy a lot. Okay. So, there was a woman that made a post and said that it's unnatural. She was basically trying to say that it's unnatural for a man to be with one woman. I saw that post and it got my attention because she's right. Now, 99% of the women will never accept that post. The reason why you will not accept that post is because you have been conditioned by the Europeans. Your mentality, your ideology is of the European ideology. For example, in the Islamic culture, every woman knows that her husband can have up to 4 wives. And they are fine with that. Now, what is the difference between Western women and these Arab women? Not much. It's the culture. So the European culture have conditioned you to be jealous. Even though the men are supposed to be jealous. That's why you have the law in Numbers chapter 5. So things has been flipped upside down today. Men are usually the ones that are supposed to be jealous. The Most High is a jealous God. The law, Numbers chapter 5. That law is a law of jealousy for the men. But we have abandoned the law. And today, women are now the ones who are being jealous. So things has been flipped upside down. What you saw in scripture with Sarah, Leah, Rachel, giving their maid to their husband, that's not a fairy tale. The Muslims are still doing. Muslims are still, even for those of us who are Igbos, in my culture, if you're old enough, you know that a woman will follow her husband when he goes to marry a new wife. If a man is going to marry a new wife, his wife will follow him. Even in my culture. Now, all these things, we're no longer doing these things because of Christianity. So, the truth of the matter, you can get upset all you want. You can think it's wrong all you want. Reality is reality. The truth of the matter is it's actually unnatural for a man to be with one woman. I have a friend of mine. And he used to be my friend before I began to take the law seriously. Then we stopped talking. So for probably like 4 years now, we haven't talked. You know, he used to be a very close friend of mine, very good friend of mine, but he refused to keep the law. He didn't want to keep the Sabbath, and he didn't want to keep the law. So to me, it's like there's no point of being friends. But when we were friends, I remember what I saw on him. So this brother, because he's a Hebrew, I noticed that he doesn't have much interest on women. He has one wife, and he hardly talks to women. He doesn't have much interest. I would tell him my stories. He knows my stories. He knows my encounter with women. But he himself, he doesn't do it. So one day, he traveled. And then he called me on the phone. And he was like on the phone. He said, guess what? I was like, what? He said, oh, I was with this woman. And I was like, I was shocked. I was shocked because I didn't know him to be doing things like that. He told me what happened. He told me how, what happened, and he had sex with this woman, blah, 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 blah. He was telling me this because he was my friend. Now, he has a wife. He has a wife, or a so-called wife. That's his, I don't think, that's not his wife, but I'm not going to go there. That was not his wife. But he lives with the woman as his wife. But in the sight of the Most High, she is not his wife. But to him, they are husband and wife. Okay. So I was shocked when he told me this. When he told me that he had sex. So when he came back from that travel, I asked him, I said to him, how come you don't talk to women in this city, but then you traveled and you had sex with some random woman? I said something like that. You know what he told me? He said, well, the reason why I don't do it is because someone that knows me might see me, and then my wife will find out. That was basically his excuse. The reason why I don't mess with women around here is because somebody who knows me might see me doing it, and then my wife will hear it. So in other words, I'm scared of my wife. Brother, if you're scared of your wife, you are in trouble. If you're scared of your wife, the Most High will not be happy with you. Adam was scared of his wife, and that did not end very well. Adam did not stand up against his wife, Eve. That did not end up very well. You cannot be scared of your wife. I had another relative. One day, I was in their house, and he and I were sitting in the living room watching TV. We sat in the living room watching TV, and his wife was in the kitchen. So there was a program on the TV, and it was about, I think it was about a man. This was a while ago. I think it was about a man, quote unquote, cheating. So what was going on TV was about the quote unquote a man cheating. That cheating thing is absolute nonsense. A man is cheating. So Moshe was cheating, right? Abraham cheated against Sarah, right? According to the Europeans. Yeah. So while I was seeing this on TV, and he and I were sitting there, I turned to him and I said to him, you do realize that it's unnatural for a man to be with one woman, right? He turned to me and he said, shh. He was like, oh, shh, yeah. So he agrees with me, but he didn't want his wife to hear it. So he was scared of his wife too. So what happened is that that was the same man that was contacting that fake Facebook that I created. It was like the same person. So I created a fake Facebook years ago. I created a fake Facebook because I was promoting some, some product or something. And I wanted to make it look like, oh, a woman is talking about this. This thing is being talked about by a woman. So that was the impression that I was trying, I was trying to use a fake Facebook to promote it. He was the one that contacted that fake Facebook. That was the same person. I now sat with him in his house. And I said to him, you do realize that it's unnatural for a man to have one wife? He was like, shh. My brothers and sisters were fooling ourselves. All of us, men and women, we are fooling ourselves. The fact is that we do realize that it's unnatural for a man to have one wife. We're fooling ourselves because we've learned from these devils. We've learned from these heathens. So what happens? Behind the scenes, men are having sex with multiple women. On Sunday, they will clean their clothes and wear nice clothes and wash their car and hold hand and wear uniform, and they go to church and they're clapping. Oh, Jesus is good. Jesus is good. And they're Mr. and Mrs. But he's having sex with multiple men on the side. Okay, let me tell you another story. Because I said that I'm embarrassing myself. This is a true story. I had an encounter with a woman years ago. What drew me to her, what I found attractive, was her body. So I pursued her. We started talking. That was years ago. I was doing night shift at that time. When I worked night shift, she was also working night shift. And she and I would be on the phone. She was like the supervisor where she was working. She doesn't have to do much. She was a nurse. She was a nurse, but she's like a top nurse. She supervises all the other nurses. So when she sits in her office, we'll just talk and talk on the phone. Her husband is back home with the kids. We will talk and talk and talk and talk. Now, I never had sex with this woman, but I almost had sex with her. Almost. So I remember one time I drove to her job. We were always on the phone. At some point, I became worried that her husband might find out. Now, these things, I will never do these things again. I still have the opportunities to do these things, but I chose not to do them because it's against the law. I still have opportunity once in a while to do these things. So I remember one night I went to her job, and she came down upstairs. I'm not going to tell you where she walked, but she was working for a huge organization, like well-known organization, huge. But I'm not going to mention the name. So I went. She came downstairs. This was at night. I went from my job. I went to her job. She came downstairs. She had a bag of gifts. She got into the car. We went and we parked. Now, if I wanted to have sex with her, that would have happened that night, but it did not happen. So if I had sex with her and I tell you right now that I did not, that means I'm lying. Hell no, I'm not going to lie to you because I don't have to tell you this story, but I'm telling you anyway. So, we talked, we sat, because we've been talking on the phone. So we now met and we talked, and we sat together in the car. We talked and talked. Then she went back to work. I went back to my job. So then she called me. She said, did you? I'm telling you this because I said we're fooling ourselves. I told you that we're fooling ourselves when we believe all this European garbage. One man, one wife, blah, 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 blah. So she called me and she said, did you open the package? I said, yeah, I opened the package. Oh, guess what? Part of the gift that she gave me was her family photo. Picture of her husband, and their children was part of the gift that she gave me. That's weird. She also included a book. Inside the book, she added some money. I didn't even know. She said, did you open the gift? I said, yeah. She said, did you see anything? I said, no. So I started looking. Then I found out that she added some money because she makes money. She makes more money than her husband because of where she worked, and she wasn't just like a regular worker there. She was like the supervisor. So when I saw the money, so even before I began to take the law seriously, I am a no-nonsense man. I don't believe in taking money from women. I don't believe that. Yeah, so translation. I don't believe in selling my authority to you for your money. Keep your damn money. I don't care about your money. Because once I take your money, now I'm selling my authority to you. No. Then next, I can't tell you what to do. So I guess it's because of the way I was raised or the culture I was raised in. So anyway, so when I saw that money, I said, no, I have to give you back the money. She was like, no, just keep it. I gave it to you from my heart. I said, no, I have to give you back the money. I don't need the money. I remember we would talk on the phone and one morning, I remember exactly. She had a Bluetooth, so you wouldn't know that she's on the phone. She got home from work. Her husband was leaving. I could tell because I was on the phone and they were talking. So I was on the phone and they were talking and he didn't even realize that a man is on the phone. Oh, did I tell you how I became interested in her? Because of tight clothes, because of what she was wearing. I was the one that approached her because of what she was wearing. If she was dressing moderately, I would never have chased her. So when you hear me speak and shout and scream against wearing these tight clothes, you may not understand why I'm doing it. I'm trying to protect you. Because to me, she was a meat. She was a mere meat to be used and dumped. But she didn't know it. She did not know that she is a victim. She was my victim. I am the predator. She was the prey. But I became interested in her because of the way she looked, the way she dressed. And she dressed like everyone else. And 99% of the women today are dressing like whores. You shouldn't be wearing tight jeans. You shouldn't be wearing jeans at all. This is going to attract men that will become interested in you, but they don't even want you. They just want your body. 6 months later, a year later, they dump you, and you begin to go through the emotional trauma of being dumped. So, I was on the phone with her. Her husband was leaving. And they talked. She was coming back from work. That's another thing. Your wife should not be going to work. Men, never allow your wife to go walk outside of your house. Brothers, do not allow your wife to walk outside of your house. If you do it, you are a fool. How can the Most High give you a woman to serve you? You turn around and let her go serve another man. Are you fool? Are you foolish? The Most High give you a woman that will serve you. You use because of money and let her go serve another man. Really? Your wife should never walk outside of your house. Once you allow your wife to have a job outside of your house, you are now going against the will of the Most High. You know what you're doing? You just sold your right. You just sold it, literally. If you allow your wife to go and have a job outside of your house, you have sold the gift that the Most High gave you. From that moment on, you will not have a righteous relationship with her. She would never submit to you. She would never serve you. The Most High will check out of your marriage. The Most High will never be involved again, ever. Why? Because the Most High doesn't want her to go and work for another man. The Most High gave her to you to work for her, to work for you, for her to serve you while you are serving the Most High. A righteous man should never allow his wife to walk outside of home. Now you're going to be thinking right now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking in your mind, wait a minute, brother. How are we supposed to pay our bills? Then downsize. Start living according to your means. If your wife have to support you in order for you to survive, then you have a problem. Something is not right. You should cut your coat according to your size. This is part of the reason why I speak against the Europeans. Because the Europeans make it difficult for you to build your own house. The Europeans make it difficult for you to have a scale. These people are the children of Satan. That is why I despise them. If you know who they are, you will despise them too. These devils are children of Satan. I have shown you from the Bible. They get their power and their authority and their ideology from Satan. Revelation 13 verse 2. Revelation 13 verse 2. Revelation 13 verse 2. My brother, if you have your own house and that house belongs to you 100%, do you know what that means? That means that you have eliminated like 60 or 70% of your bills. I try to, this is why I buy solar panels. I buy things, I try to eliminate monthly bills. If you can build your own house, now, I don't want you to get scared and think that, oh brother, I cannot do this, I don't have money. Oh yeah? No, you can. Get a shipping container. Save money and buy a shipping container and convert that into a house. You get a 40-foot shipping container and you can always be adding. The beautiful thing is that you can always be adding more containers. You can even buy some woods and add more houses. The more kids you have, the more houses you add. The more wife you have, the more houses you add. That's the good thing about it. But no monthly payment, no rent, no bill, no mortgage. You save up money and buy a solar panel and put on the top. You have electricity. You save up money and get some people and they will dig a well for you. You have a drinking water. Free of charge. When you don't have to pay all this monthly payment, car payment, rent, that means that you have to be working all the time. The Most High doesn't want that for you. The Most High wants you to be the head and not the tail. The Most High wants people to work for you. And the Most High does not like it when you are the one that have to work for people. He doesn't like it. So naturally, we're supposed to own our own houses. Our ancestors built their own houses. I myself, who is talking to you, I have my own house. I bought a land, I built a house, I own it 100%. I had a neighbor who is selling the land next to my land. The whole thing was a miracle. Miracle, because I wanted to buy that land. The mother said no. Their mother said no. She was like, hell no. But eventually, one day I got a phone call that they want to sell the land. And I got the phone call at the right time. At the perfect time. I had the money. And he was like, hey, he said, this is the amount you're going to pay me. And he charged me a lot. He charged me a lot of money for that land because he knew that I needed that land because it was next to my house. So he charged me a lot. He said, I'm not going to give you less. This is the amount you have to pay me. But what I can do for you is you can pay me half and pay me half later. It was a miracle. The Most High gave me that land. Because if he had called me at the wrong time, I didn't have the money, I would have lost it. Because I have another neighbor. My other neighbor, they want that land so bad. My other neighbor want that house, that land so bad because they have a huge house on a tiny land. So they were hoping that they will buy that land and they expand their compound. And the Most High just gave me that land. I had the money, it was at the right time, I paid for it. So eventually, I'm going to add in another house next to, by that, on that land. Because like as I said, a righteous, especially when you have women around, your mother, your sisters, when you have people around, you're going to have this, because when people are seeing their monthly period, they need to go away, or you need to go away, or somebody has to go away. Somebody's going to have to stay away to avoid being unclean. This is how Hebrew boys are supposed to be trained. It is not okay for us to have a job. We have a skill. Acts chapter 18. Paul had a skill. Paul was a tent maker. So in other words, Paul was a businessman. He can always make a tent whenever he wants to make a tent and sell it whenever he wants to sell it. That's why most of our ancestors were fishermen. You go fishing whenever you want to go fishing and sell the fish. You can never be hungry. You can never lack money. They have a skill as fishermen. This idea of going to school, getting a certificate and getting a job, we're not supposed to do that nonsense. So if you happen to live in Europe or America, forget about having your own house because these devils make it so difficult. These devils make it so difficult for you they put all kinds of stumbling blocks on your way. Oh, you have to have this permit, that permit, building permit, this permit, that permit, because they don't want you to build your own house. That is why in America, the houses are owned by the banks. It is not an accident that they want you to make monthly payment. Because if you're making monthly payment, then you must have a job. If you own your own house, you don't have to have a job. There are some things that I cannot tell you right here. Or I cannot, because this is being recorded right now, so I cannot say certain things. Things that will benefit you, certain things I cannot give to the public. No, I can't. For you, the men, there's something I'm going to give you. Not right now. There's information I'm going to give you. If you want it so bad, you can call me privately. And I will give you a secret. This is a Hebrew secret, biblical secret. How to have easy life when it comes to your daily living. You don't have to have a job. But if you don't know these things, and I know these things because of the law. If you don't know these things, you don't know what to do. You have a job, you're working Monday through Friday or something, or somebody is giving you a schedule, you're barely trying to keep the Sabbath. You have to always be working to survive because you have rent to pay. You don't have to pay rent. Paying rent is unnatural. Because if you're paying rent, then you must have a job, whether you like it or not, because that rent is always due. Always due. Always due. You pay your rent, now it's going to be due again. So it keeps you working, which goes back to Deuteronomy 28. You will serve your enemy. Part of your heritage that you need to get back is that independence. You should start looking into shipping containers. Have you seen these beautiful shipping container houses? Luxurious shipping container houses. So I don't want you to give me that nonsense. Oh, shipping containers, how am I supposed to live in a shipping container? Have you seen these beautiful, luxurious shipping containers? Houses? You can build a beautiful, nice shipping container house. And the good thing about it is that it's easy to expand. Easy to add in more. Build it, protect it very well. That thing will last for 200 years. You don't have to worry about fire collapsing or fire or whatever. No, it's heavy on the ground. All you need to do is to pour concrete on the ground and put it on that concrete. Protect the body to avoid rust. Insulate the inside with foams to avoid heat coming in or cold, whatever. The Most High made things so easy for us. Hey, what is that Hosea say? Hosea, my people perish for lack of knowledge. We're suffering today for lack of knowledge. We are suffering for lack of knowledge. We're supposed to have easy life. We're supposed to be lending to people. So when you understand these things and begin to apply these things, you would have a very easy life. Very, very easy life. You wouldn't have to have a job. You don't need to have a job. You don't need to have a job if you don't have to worry about rent. You know, once in a while you could do something or make something or something and sell it, or have a couple of animals and sell them, whatever. You know, life will be easy. In that way, your wife will not have to work. Why would she be working? You can handle your bills. You cannot handle your bills when you have a huge house, you're paying mortgage. You're paying car note, making monthly payment on cars. That's ridiculous. Don't pay car note. Never make monthly payment on a car. Save money and buy a car and pay cash. Avoid monthly payment. You will enslave yourself. You will enslave yourself. If you can avoid rent and have your own house, and then do the other secret that I'm not going to give that secret away. I can only give it to those who are keeping the law. So because what I'm saying right now is being recorded, I cannot say it. If you can afford to get your own house, which you can. Save money, get a shipping container, get a place, get a land, put the shipping container, rent is done. No more rent. And then you apply the other thing that I'm not going to tell you right now. That's it. You wake up in the morning, you're like, okay, you know what, let me sleep a little bit more. No more bills. Your cell phone needs to become prepaid. Your phone should be prepaid, meaning that no monthly payment. So you only pay when you want to pay. These things will allow you to easily keep the law. These are things that these young boys will be learning on the Hebrew school. These boys will be 16 years old with their own wives. 16 years old, already owning their own house. The Most High, all these things are basically hidden in the scriptures, hidden behind the laws. But you will never be allowed to know it until you start keeping the law. So you might be surprised. Wow, brother, you say that you will not give certain information away. Yeah. You know, like they will say the same way the Most High told Prophet Ezra in the second Ezra. The Most High told Prophet Ezra, don't give everything that you wrote to the Israelites. Take some of the books and hide it. Keep it secret. Don't let everybody read that book. So even the Most High cannot allow all Israel to know everything. The good information, beneficial information, he only gives to those who are being obedient. So there are certain things that I cannot just tell anybody or everybody. I might share it with you privately, but I cannot speak to the public or make a video and then some filthy Gentile who doesn't keep the law will listen and then learn and then apply it to their life and then benefit from that. No. If you don't want to keep the law, then you should not enjoy all the benefits that the Most High gave to his people. A Hebrew who doesn't want to keep the law should not be allowed to enjoy the benefit that is meant for those who are keeping the law. So you should never, ever, the day you allow your wife to go and walk outside of your house. What do I mean by walk outside of your house? Meaning that she has a job and she has to go work for somebody, as in like go to work in an office or work in a factory. That kind of job, no, never allow that. Never allow it. Because the primary purpose of your wife is to serve you, to work for you. Example, Proverb 31. Look how busy that woman is. Go and read Proverb 31 and see how busy she is. But she was busy working for her husband. So you cannot allow your wife to go work for somebody else when she was meant to work for you. So that's the gift that the Most High gave you. You cannot allow another man to get that gift and then give you money. As soon as she begins to walk outside of the home, she cannot walk outside of the home and then come back and cook for you and submit to you. That you can't eat your cake and have it. You cannot eat your cake and have it. She cannot go to work exhausted, tired, then come back and go back into the kitchen, standing for hours cooking. No. And if she's working and making that money, your wife is supposed to depend on you. So now she cannot depend on you like that. It's all messed up. We are in a situation that the Most High described in the book of Jubilees chapter 1. Jubilees chapter 1. We're in that situation today. But the reason why you have to be in this situation, the reason why we have to be in this situation is because we have this bill, you have to pay this bill, you have to pay that bill, you have a car note, you have a rent, you have a mortgage. So you cannot pay it by yourself. So you need your help of your wife to pay it. And as soon as she doesn't depend on you, as soon as you're no longer providing for her and she has to go and work and make the money herself, she can no longer respect you the way she's supposed to respect you. She can no longer submit to you the way she's supposed to submit to you. She can no longer work for you the way she's supposed to work for you. You cannot eat your cake and have it. She cannot go out and work and exhaust herself and then come back and you expect her to do the same thing at home. No. So what do? Try to reduce your bills. You may have to move away from where you are. Move to a different place where you will be able to, you yourself can handle your bills so that she doesn't have to work. And most importantly, if you have children, her attention will be focused on your children. That's a lot of work, raising children. That is already too much for her already. This is part of the reason why people have conflict. You're working and making money. She's working and making money. She wants something that costs, say for example, 10 pounds. She wants something that costs 10 pounds. You say, no, actually you don't need that. Buy the one that costs 5 pounds. She'll be like, no, I'm the one making the money. I want the one that costs 10 pounds. Then you start arguing. A woman is not supposed to walk outside of the home. A righteous man should never allow his wife to walk outside of the home. If you do that, you're selling out your authority. You're selling out the gift that the Most High gave you. You're selling it for money. You're selling her service to another man. And you're not going to get that service. She will not submit to you. She will not serve you because you cannot eat your cake and have it. When you send your wife to go get a job and work for somebody, you are receiving money in return. So that brings me back to the story I was telling you about that woman. So she was coming back from work and his wife, she was coming back from work and the husband was going out. Now, did the husband know that we were talking on the phone at night? No. Let me tell you something. See, that night that I went to visit her at her job, if I wanted, I would have had sex with her that night in my car. I did not, but if I wanted, I would have done it. Because she was already into me already. All those times we were on the phone. She was already building emotions for me. She's not going to put a gift together with her family picture, her husband and her children, a book, cash, money inside the book, and give to a stranger. She will give it to somebody that she's beginning to develop feelings for. So if I wanted that night, I would have had sex with her that night. And she will go home in the morning and her husband will not know. Did I say that your wife shouldn't go to work? Do you know the kind of abomination that goes on in this workplace? Look at Gentiles. A woman is working in a corporation. And then sometimes she would travel with her co-workers on conference. They travel together on conferences. These people are having sex with their co-workers in that hotel at night. They go to the conference in the daytime. At night, they go to the bar at the hotel. They start drinking. Before you know it, this co-worker will sneak into her bedroom. Before you know it, one thing will lead to another. They're having sex. Then they go back home from the conference. Your wife is out there having sex. This is what is happening to the Gentiles. Will this woman be able to be on the phone with me at night if she was at home? No. But that was even nothing compared to what I'm about to tell you right now. So the more we talked on the phone, the more we talked and talked, we went to the next level. I said to her, I want you to visit me. But I don't even want you to spend like few hours. I don't even want you to spend like, 2 hours. No. If you're going to come, if you're going to visit me, you're going to spend a lot of time. You know what she told me? She said, basically we began to make the plan. She said, okay. She said, because I work night shift, my shift starts from 7. I work from 7 in the evening to 7 in the morning. But sometimes I do overtime. Sometimes I work overtime at my job. So what I can do is I can tell my husband that I'm going to be working overtime. So when I work overtime, I start from 4 p.m. When I work overtime, I start from 4 p.m. to 7 in the morning. So I can come to you, I can visit you by 4 p.m. I can come to you and then I will stay with you all the way to the next morning. I think I asked her, this was years ago. I think I asked her. So if I remember correctly, I think I asked her, what about your husband? Wouldn't he know? Wouldn't he call your job? And if I remember correctly, she basically told me, oh, don't worry about it, like whatever. That she can handle it or something. So we began to make the plan. So the plan was that she's going to visit me and she will stay from like 4 p.m. all the way into morning. So we had a date set. Then I began to feel guilty. So I asked her, I said to her, I was like, why are you doing this? Like, is there any problem between you and your husband? She said no. Which I thought that was strange. Because usually when people do stuff like that, they're having problems with their husband. So I was asking her, do you have any problem with your husband? Is there like, do you guys have any problems? Why? Obviously, why are you doing this? She said, no, I have no problem with my husband. And I believe her because I have been on the phone with her on her Bluetooth while her husband was there. And he didn't even know that the man is on the Bluetooth. So I've had them talk I've listened to them talk. They didn't sound like people who were having problems. So when I tell you that your wife shouldn't have a job, your wife shouldn't, actually she has a job at home. When I tell you that your wife shouldn't be walking outside of home, outside of your house, you may not understand what I mean. Will she be able to visit me and spend a whole night, then go back home in the morning as if she went home from work? Will she be able to do this if she don't have a job? No. Look, people will do whatever they want to do. People will commit sin if they want to commit sin. The whole point is to reduce the chances, reduce the temptation, that's the whole point of this. If a woman wants to do what she wants to do, she will do what she wants to do. If a man, it doesn't matter it doesn't matter what you do. If somebody wants to do something bad, they will do something bad. The point here is to reduce the chances of temptation. That's the point. Now, the reason why I was basically the one that ended the relationship because I started feeling guilty. And at that time, I didn't really care much about the law like that. Because here I was dealing with somebody's wife. I didn't feel much guilt. I didn't care much about the law the way I care about the law now. But I still had, I guess, compassion or something. I don't know what to call it. Will it be compassion? Because I was thinking, what if this is me? What if this is my wife? I was feeling guilty. Started feeling guilty. Oh, and I do know the husband. So when I see the husband, I feel so guilty. I feel like maybe he knows. That's what I was thinking. When I see the husband, I feel like maybe he knows. Now, I never laid with this woman. So I was feeling guilty and she ended up not coming. I know if I had pressured her, she would have come like we planned. But she ended up not coming. I was feeling guilty. So the Spirit had moved me in this area to tell you this true story. And also to get to the point that do not let your wife have a job outside of your house. Don't do it. It's not going to end well. It's not going to end well in the sense that she will never... Your relationship with her will never be the same as it would have been if she doesn't have a job. If she has a job and she has to go to work Monday through Friday or whenever she goes to work, your situation with her will never be the way the Most High intended, because she's making her own money. Things are not... You're supposed to do the providing, not her. You do the providing. You're supposed to provide. Titus chapter 2. She's supposed to be at home and manage your provision. You are supposed to be bringing in not the baking. You're supposed to be bringing in the food. You're supposed to be providing. So when you get her involved in that provision, you're providing and she's providing, she will never respect you the way she's supposed to. She will never submit the way she's supposed to. Young people should take note of this. And you have to prepare young people so that they don't have to find themselves in a situation where they have to need the help of their wife to survive. Raise them the right way. Let them have a skill. Let them have their own house So in that way, there will not be any need for their wife to have to go work, because they will never have biblical marriage or relationship if their wife is working. Now that this brings me back to the men themselves. The reason why I went to tell you this story is because I told you we're fooling ourselves. We are fooling ourselves. This woman will get ready on Sunday and go to church with her husband. And they are like one husband and wife, right? Husband and wife. But behind the scene, she's doing this thing with me. Now, who knows what her so-called husband was doing too? This is what we're doing today. We're fooling ourselves. So, the idea of one man, one wife is it's not natural. Like as I said, like basically, a woman was created to be with one man. Even the way we relate emotionally. You know, you don't just see a man right now and want to have sex with him right now. If you are a normal woman, if you are normal, you want to build up that relationship. You want to get to know them. You want to build up that emotion. It is the opposite for us, the men. We don't care about emotion. We just want to get on top of you. That's all we want to do. So this is how we are created. And this is the reason why a man can have 10 wives and love them equally. Love them the right way. With no problem. A man was created to be able to do this. It is unnatural for a man to have only one wife. That is what we're doing today, but it's unnatural. And at the end of the day, the reality, the fact of the matter today, is that today men are having multiple women outside. So we're pretending, we're fooling ourselves. Men are not okay with one wife. They say they are. They pretend as if they are. They're still looking outside for women. That is the reality today. Most men have multiple women outside that they're having sex with. But they come home and pretend, and we go to church and pretend one wife, one husband, one wife. We're fooling ourselves. It's unnatural. Everything has been flipped upside down. So, you might be wondering why I don't promote polygamy. If you notice, I do not promote polygamy. So, you might be wondering, why is it that I don't promote polygamy? If it is biblical. It is biblical. So, saying all these things that I said and knowing what I know, how come I don't promote it? Well, the reason why I don't promote polygamy, and the reason why I wish that those who are in a polygamous relationship will fail, the reason why I wish that they will fail, and the reason why I don't promote it is because most people who are doing polygamy today are doing it wrong. They're doing it wrong. Most of them are doing it wrong. These men are living with women who are not even their wives. They're doing it wrong. That's why I don't promote it, because somebody might listen to me and go do it and do it wrong. And the ones who are doing it wrong, I want them to fail. So I don't like to give information about polygamy. I don't like to give information about things that will help you to have a healthy relationship. The only reason why I'm giving you this one right now is because I'm with law keepers. But I don't want somebody who is living in sin to get some of this information and apply it and then continue living in sin. No. So for you to practice and practice polygamy, the woman has to be either a virgin or a widow. Then she's really your wife. But that's not the case today. So that's one of the reasons. Number two, polygamy is not necessarily a salvational issue. I would like to focus on the things of the law right now. Polygamy is not something that you must do. You don't have to do polygamy. So why spend my time talking about polygamy and promoting polygamy when we have so many laws that we need to learn and keep? No. It will not be appropriate priority. You have to focus on what matters. Polygamy is not, it's biblical. Polygamy is okay and biblical. You can do polygamy. But what's the point of focusing to learn polygamy when you're not even keeping the Sabbath? When you're not even growing your beard? When you're not even wearing your fringes? That's part of the reason why I don't talk about polygamy. What shall it profit you if I show you and teach you about polygamy, but then you don't keep the rest of the laws? So polygamy is not really a salvational issue. And it's just not a priority right now. It's not a priority. Keeping the laws are a priority right now. So now, my brothers and sisters, I'm going to close on this so I can give you the opportunity to open up your mic. If you would like to say something or ask question about the things that I just shared with you, so you can open up your mic. So I'm going to close by encouraging women. Please cover your breast. Cover your body. Don't wear tight clothing. When we, the men, see it, it turns us on. We become horny. And before you realize it, sperm will begin to come out of our penis. And when that sperm come out of our penis, we're unclean. Now we have to go wash that pant, wash that short or pant or whatever, underwear. So our body doesn't care whether you are our wife or not. Our body will begin to prepare that sperm for delivery. That is what happens. So that was what led me to the areas that I went into this night, to point out these things, between men and women, relationship and things like that. So please, unfortunately, today Satan is using women. Satan is using women to seduce men, and a woman will wear tight clothes, tight this, tight that, walking around on the street with her breasts hanging out, all this tight clothes and tight this and tight that. It's really bad. It's very, very, very bad. And men are seeing this. They look at these things. They are lusting after these things. Men are lusting after these things. It's really, really bad. And a lot of the times, these men will be in a store. A woman will come in with her breasts hanging out. This woman will see this, and this man will see this, and he start lusting after her. By the time he gets to his car, man, he's going crazy. His body is going crazy. Oftentimes, they will start ejaculating in their pants without even wanting to. See, this right here, this is nakedness. This woman is naked. Look at that. She's naked. This woman is naked. The picture I just showed you right now, she is naked. When men see something like this, it turns us on. When we see a woman like this, you know what we're thinking? What having sex with her will feel like. What do I need to do to get on top of her? This is what we're thinking. That's just the truth. Let's tell the truth and shame the devil. That is just the truth. We don't care about her name. We don't care about who she is. We don't love her. So when women are young, they're getting all this attention, not realizing that these are fake attention. These men want you for only your body. So please, my sisters, please, women, if you're listening to this online, I beg you, women, please cover up yourself. Cover up yourself, please. When men see these things, don't let Satan use you. Do not let Satan use you. Do not allow Satan use you. It's very difficult for us, the men. It's very difficult for us to lust after a woman like this, or women like this. These women in these pictures, very difficult. You know, as you can see, it's hard to see the breast. It's hard to see anything. So we don't lust or go crazy or horny about when we see a woman like this. Do not let Satan use you to seduce men. Do not let Satan use you and use your body. Because at the end of the day, you will also suffer. At the end of the day, these men will break your heart. They will break your heart and they will dump you, leave you. If I sit here and start telling you stories, see, I've been around the block. I have been around. Because of the way a woman would dress, that would get my attention. I would chase her. I would get her. Eventually, I would dump her, and then she would start calling and crying. Because she had all this impression. She has this impression that, you know, we're going to be together. We're going to be together. That's what she's thinking. No. I became interested because of your body, because of those tight clothes that you're wearing. So if you let Satan use you, eventually you will regret it, like Eve in the garden. Eve allowed Satan to use her, and Eve regretted it. Please, my brothers and sisters, I'm doing this to protect you. I am doing this to protect my sisters. I have been there. I have been a whoremonger. I have used my sisters as like prostitute. I've done this, and I'm telling you that the reason why I did these things, what God gets my attention is the way they dress. That's what gets my attention, and I will go for it. I will tell you exactly what you want to hear. I was smooth. I dressed well, dressed sharp, will give you the impression that you want. I looked good, went to the gym, exercised. So I approach you trying to be the person that you want, even though I was fake. I was fake. I usually don't like these women to know where I live. I usually don't like to allow them to know where I live. So my encounter with them is usually in their house or at a hotel. Because I knew what I was planning to do. I knew. So what I would tell them, oh, I live very far away. I live far away. And I would tell them this from the beginning. From the beginning, I would tell them this. Because I don't want them to say, oh, let's go to your house. I want to come. No. I don't let them come to my house. No. I don't. It's like, okay, let me put it this way. I did not allow them to really know who I was, or to, like, I basically, let me put it this way. I usually either go to their house or take them to a hotel. I'm trying to protect my sisters. I'm trying to protect you. There is no point in wasting, giving yourself, giving your body, giving your mind, giving your soul to somebody who will disappear in 6 months, or disappear in 1 year, or disappear in 2 years. There's no point. You might as well just be by yourself. Because each time your heart is broken, that's very stressful. I've had women that will call on the phone and crying and crying and crying. Had a woman call and cry. And usually it takes months to recover. It takes months to recover from all these things that you are imagining, all this imagination, thinking that you've secured this man and he's gone. It takes months to recover from this. So while I'm trying to protect you, I'm also asking you to help us, the men. Please don't dress sexy. Don't dress sexy. It is dangerous. Dressing sexy is not good for you. You're also putting us in trouble. Because we are also committing adultery when we see you like that and we lust after you. It's all a loss situation for us. You lose, I lose. So even when I use you and dump you, I'm also committing adultery. That doesn't look good in the sight of the Most High. Let us not continue in what we've been taught by our enemies. Do not dress sexy. Dress moderately. Teach the young people too to dress moderately. And we, the men, are also being helped so that we don't have to see you and lust after you. Lust after you, and the next thing you know, we start thinking about sex. We start thinking about sex, and then the next thing you know, sperm is coming out of our body, and then now we are unclean. Now we are unclean. So please, my brothers and my sisters, please help your brothers. Help us. Do not buy into the lie of Satan. Do not buy into the lie of Satan. Don't buy into his lie. Don't dress sexy. Do not dress sexy. Don't. There's nothing good that comes out of that. Do not do that. This is the sister I was talking about. That's the sister I was talking about. I'm talking about the one that at the store, not the one that, this is the one at the store. Cover up your breast. Don't expose your breast. Don't So all praises to our Heavenly Father. I want to end from where I started. Men, if you whenever sperm come out of your body, you're unclean. My brothers and sisters, I'm going to ask everybody, those who are listening online, those who are on Skype, I am pleading with you. Pass this information to young people. Let younger men know this. Spread this information. Because most of our people are, like, I got a phone call from a 14-year-old boy. And he told me, sperm came out of me. I said, well, you're unclean. You're 14. Sperm came out of you. You're unclean. Now, why did sperm come out of him when he's 14? Why? Because he was desiring sex. Do you know what I told him? I said, it's time to have a wife. That 14-year-old boy should have a wife. That 14-year-old boy should have a wife. There's a reason why sperm came out of his body. These people are desiring sex, and there's nothing wrong with that. He's not doing anything wrong. There's nothing wrong in desiring sex, but you have to do it with your wife or with your husband. to do it with your wife or with your husband. If you don't have a wife or a husband, okay, well, in that case, whenever sperm comes out of you, whether you are a man or you are a woman, that's okay. As long as you're not watching porn, as long as you're not watching pornography when this happens, that's okay. Just wash yourself before the sun goes down. If you don't have a wife or you don't have a husband, your body doesn't care. Your body does not care. Your body is going to produce that sperm. Whether you're ready or not, it's coming out. So, do not watch pornography because you're watching two people who is committing abomination, committing adultery. Don't watch them. Stay away from pornography. If, for whatever reason, whether you touch yourself, whatever reason sperm comes out of your body, like the Most High said in Leviticus 15, the Most High did not give a reason. The Most High said that whenever sperm come out of your body, you're unclean. Whenever sperm comes out of your body, you're unclean. Whether you're a man or you're a woman, you're unclean. So for whatever reason, because your body doesn't care. Your body cares not whether you have a wife or not, or you have a husband or not. Your body doesn't care. It's nature. So, if you for whatever reason, sperm comes out of your body, make sure you wash, whether you touched yourself or it was an accident, make sure you wash, take a shower. First, wash the clothes. Any towel, your pants, your underwear, anywhere that the sperm touches, you wash it. Wash it. And then take a shower. Put on fresh clothes. Do this before the sun goes down and you're good. Because sometimes, like that 14-year-old boy, his body doesn't care that he's 14. His body doesn't care that he doesn't have a wife. His body doesn't care. And as long as he's eating food and drinking water, his body is producing sperm. So sometimes you feel pressure. Sometimes you feel horny. But there's no wife. Like that 14-year-old boy. Sometimes you feel horny. But there's no husband. If, for whatever reason, as long as you're not watching porn, for whatever reason, the sperm comes out, make sure you wash yourself. Wash anywhere it touches, like your clothes, you're good. Because sometimes you're going crazy. Because your body is building up all this sperm. Whether you are a man or you're a woman, your body is building it up. But it's not being released. And your body is not going to say, okay, you know what, I will stop building the sperm because you don't have a husband. Your body will not say that. Okay, I will stop doing it because you don't have a wife. Your body will not do that. Remember that when you are unclean, you cannot touch the scripture. Remember that when you are unclean, you cannot join the congregation because you are unclean. Remember, when you are unclean, you cannot pray. You can listen to audio Bible, but you cannot pray, you cannot touch the Bible physically. Just keep that in mind. So whether that sperm is going to come out of your body by accident or intentionally, just make sure that it doesn't happen on the Sabbath day. Sometimes accident will happen, like what happened to me today. It was pure accident. And I said, okay, I'm unclean. I have to wash myself, wash the clothes. So sometimes people find themselves in a situation where they have no husband or they have no wife, but your body is still manufacturing the sperm. Your body is still manufacturing the sperm. What you must make sure that you don't do in this situation, do not watch porn. Don't watch porn. And sometimes when that sperm comes out of your body, it's like the pressure has been lifted, which is actually good, because when that sperm is all over your body, but it's not going out because you have no husband or because you have no wife. When you have that sperm in your body, you have no husband, you have no wife, depending on who you are, it drives you crazy. You are horny. You see half-naked women if you are a man, or you see men with tight clothes, or if you're a woman, it drives you crazy. Because it's already on your body, ready to come out, but there's no action to make it to come out. That's not really a healthy thing. Because sometimes people will now lose control and end up, because at the right situation, one thing will lead to something else, and before you know it, you commit adultery. But if you are not always under that pressure, when your body is building up the sperm, if you're not under the pressure, it makes it easier to handle the temptations because you're not under the pressure. So whatever you do, make sure you have to, however the sperm comes out of your body, you must wash yourself before the sun goes down. Wash anywhere that it touched. Make sure that sperm doesn't come out of your body on a Sabbath day, unless if it's an accident. So keep yourself pure and clean before the Sabbath. Exodus 19. Exodus 19. When the Most High wanted to meet our ancestors, the Israelites, he told them to stay away from their wives, not to approach their wives. Not to approach their wives, so that sperm will not come out of their body and they will become unclean on that day. No, you can't be unclean on that day. That's a holy day. So make sure that you're not unclean on a Sabbath day. Like as I said. So when Christians will tell you, well, I don't want to call names, but if you're wise, you will know what I'm talking about. Your body doesn't care whether you have a husband or not. And your body doesn't care whether you have a wife or not. It's like when you're drinking water, your body is producing your urine. your pee, your urine. Your body doesn't care whether there's a toilet or restroom or bathroom or not. Your body doesn't care. When the time comes, whether you're ready or not, that urine will begin to come out of your body, whether you're ready or not. Just make sure you don't watch pornography. It's an abomination. You cannot sit down and be watching a man and a woman committing adultery and you're enjoying it. You cannot do that. We cannot do that. We cannot do that and claim that we love the Most High. We sit and we watch a man and a woman having sex. We know that this man is not her husband. They are both actors having sex for money. We cannot be watching that. The Most High hates what they're doing. We cannot take pleasure on wickedness. So whatever you do, do not watch pornography. But if the sperm comes out of you by accident, whether by accident or whether you touch yourself, just wash yourself. Wash yourself before the sun goes down. So all praises to our Heavenly Father. I thank the Most High for His love, His kindness, His mercy. Does anybody have any question relating to this before we go to other things? Oh, those of you who are here right now, do you have any question relating to this? Or maybe you're all asleep. Okay. All right. So all praises to our Heavenly Father. If you're listening online and you do have any question, you are more than welcome to contact me. If I am still alive, I will try to answer your question as much as I can. I will get back to you. If you listen to this and you have question, maybe there's something that I did not address, for whatever reason, whatever question, you're more than welcome to contact me. So all praises to our Heavenly Father. Again, my brothers and sisters, do you have any question relating to this? All right. So all praises to the Most High. I thank our Heavenly Father for His love and His kindness. Please, when you are unclean, wash yourself. And I really encourage you to read Leviticus chapter 15. Leviticus chapter 15. Read the whole chapter. Read the whole chapter to see what the Most High said there about clean and unclean. Read the whole chapter of the book of Leviticus chapter 15. And teach the young people too. Teach your son, teach your grandson, teach the women too. When a woman sees a monthly period, she's unclean. So I thank our Heavenly Father for everything. We have to keep these laws. We must keep these laws. They are forever. We have to observe these laws forever. And for those that do have any question, first, read Leviticus chapter 15. And then you can try and contact me if you have any question. All praises to our Heavenly Father.